Okay, so once again, good afternoon to everybody. For this afternoon, we'll be discussing the application now of laboratory um, quality assurance in the clinical laboratory. So to start off, let's lay down all our learning topic learning outcomes. So for this afternoon, our goal is for you to be able to define some of the most important terms in quality management system. So I guess you already have a primer of this in your laboratory. Have you met your laboratory professor already, and have you done your first exercise already? Hello? Were you okay? So thank you so much for that. So with regards to that, okay, we'll just be going through some of the important terms in quality management system, and of course for you to be able to explain the important personalities, okay, the important people who have contributed to the field of quality management in general. So later on when we discuss the history, you'll be able to meet them, and of course for you, each of you, to explain the components of quality management system model. So I guess Ma'am Nell was already able to discuss to you guys what is the difference between total quality management from quality assurance and then quality control. Okay, from quality control. So in line with that, okay, in line with that, at the end of our discussion, hopefully all of you would be able to explain the history of quality. Although last time, isn't it, we had a brief discussion of already of how quality evolved, starting from Walter Schuhart up until Galvin. So all of that, and the from 1920s to 1980s. But this time we will be discussing um, a more detailed evolution or development of quality until the 21st century. So let's start by first reminding everybody of the reading guide. So I don't know if all of you already have your if you have copies of this book. So if wala pa, Miss Shapno, I want you to collect all your emails so that I'll be able to send the link to you guys so you can access it through my Google Drive. So I'll be giving you I'll be giving you the books, specifically the Henry's. With the first one, continuous quality improvement in healthcare, you can actually see this on the library in our TLC. So please access it through our um, virtual library through our Tua Learning Cloud. Okay? So first, let's start off by describing what is quality assurance. Sometimes I guess most of you nalilito with your TQM and your QA because sometimes their definition are almost similar, but then okay, it's very important for us to actually differentiate alin yung under, okay? Which one is under which so that you'll be able to understand the system or the model better. So starting off with quality assurance. So quality assurance is defined to be the sum total of the activities aimed at achieving a required standard. So this is defined by ISO. Okay. So standards actually can be internationally recognized standards such as the ones coming from our CLSI and ISO, or it can also be a set of standards given by DOH to standardize a particular institution. Okay, to standardize a particular institution. If you can still remember during our discussion last time, we actually defined quality. Okay, and we asked around how quality is important. Okay, not only in clinical laboratory but also in other industries. So quality, okay, the quality is the degree of excellence. Okay, it is the degree of excellence of something. So whether it is a product, whether it is a service, it needs to have a degree of excellence. It needs to have quality. In the clinical laboratory, we are more specific with the laboratory results, the laboratory procedures that we are performing and doing inside the laboratory for our patients. And all of those things also needs to have, okay, it also needs to have quality. Okay? But a bigger question now is that to whom or to what are we going to base our quality? Okay? So that is now the need to have a standard. So why do we need a standard? Why do we require a standard? Okay? Why do we require a standard given in this definition? Why? Because a standard help us ensure that our tests are always accurate and reliable. Okay? That all of our tests are accurate and reliable. So that is why we have those standards in place inside the laboratory. And another question might be, why do I need to always be accurate and reliable? So again, we would always go back to our our ultimate goal, which is to provide the best results, high quality results for our patients, proper diagnosis and management of the patient, so that all of those things could be ensured to our patients. Okay, to our patients. So moving on now. Okay, moving on. So quality assurance in the laboratory. Okay, quality assurance in the laboratory. Okay, quality assurance in the laboratory is very important. So we actually start off discussing quality management and quality assurance in a wider scope, in a non-medical approach, for you to be able to understand what quality is all about and how important it is. Because sometimes, for most of you, you haven't seen a laboratory results pa. You haven't released a laboratory results, and sometimes it's actually very difficult for you to imagine how would that piece of paper have so much component about quality and about quality assurance. So hopefully you were able to see the importance of it. Okay, the importance of it in other fields, and now, okay, and now we would now be discussing it inside the laboratory. So quality in the laboratory um, is very important because it is the one that maintains the accuracy, okay, the accuracy, and of course the reliability of our result. So the purpose of laboratory, okay, the purpose of the laboratory is to provide physicians and other healthcare professionals with informations to what, okay. So inside the laboratory, okay, inside the laboratory, what we always do, okay, is to provide them informations about how can they detect a particular disease, okay, informations to diagnose a particular disease, for them to see the predisposition of individuals to disease, okay, the risk, okay, when we say predisposition, we're talking about the risk factors, and the susceptibility, okay, the susceptibility of an individual to a particular disease. Secondly, it is to confirm or reject a particular diagnosis, okay, to confirm or reject a particular diagnosis. So always remember, sometimes there are a lot of signs and symptoms that actually would be so much similar to almost all types of diseases. So as medical technologists, we can actually confirm or reject a particular diagnosis that is given to a particular patient. Next, inside the laboratory, okay, inside the laboratory, we're just defining our purpose, ha, our purpose in the laboratory. So in the laboratory, okay? In the laboratory, our purpose is to what? Our purpose to is also to establish prognosis. Okay? For us to establish a prognosis, how bad or how good the patient's condition is. Will it be improving in the course of time, or will it be worsening towards time, so that doctors would know what treatment and what management would they give. Okay? What treatment would they need. In addition to that, okay, in addition to that, they would also give patient our informations, okay? Our information would also guide our physician, okay, with regards to patient management, okay, with regards to patient management. So you see, guys, okay, you see, inside the laboratory, we're not just simply releasing a piece of paper, okay. We're not just releasing a piece of paper. We're actually helping physicians do all of this, and not only that, not only in the management, but even in the monitoring of the efficacy of a particular therapy. Take for example, your patient had a particular tumor, and then your doctor would be giving them your radiotherapy or your chemotherapy, so they would know if the test is actually effective, or rather the therapy is actually effective to your patient through various laboratory tests. So we would know if the patient is actually improving with that treatment, or it doesn't even have an effect on them, so that the doctors would be able to change the treatment for your patient. Another example of this, okay? Another example of this would be with regards to your um, antimicrobial testing, okay? Antimicrobial testing inside the laboratory, we are performing that even before doctors. Ideally, okay, in an ideal world, even before a doctor give an antibiotic to your patient who's suffering from a bacterial infection, the most ideal procedure would be to have your um for them to have an antimicrobial susceptibility test first. Okay? This is to identify whether that bacteria is actually susceptible. When we say susceptible, is that bacteria being killed when this particular antibiotic is used by the patient? Is this particular antibiotic, okay? Is this capable of killing that bacteria in my patient? If not, you should not be giving that, because you are only introducing that antibiotic that would soon be an antibiotic resistance, not only to that bacteria but to other bacteria upon transfer. Okay, so you understand now that inside the laboratory, all of these things are what we are doing. Okay? These are the information, these are the test results that we are releasing. And all the more that we need to make sure that quality is always and will always and forever be there in our laboratory results. Now, the question is, how do we do that? How do we do that? To answer that, okay, how do we provide the accurate and reliable information that is being needed, okay? That is being needed by our physicians, that are being needed by our patients. So to answer that, we need to talk about quality management. So we can make sure that every single time you release an information that would help in doing all of these five, okay, for us to make sure that there is quality management would be our help. Okay, quality management would be our help. And as defined in your Henrys, okay, as defined in your Henrys, quality management refers to the overall process used to ensure that laboratory results meet the requirements for healthcare services to our patient. So this means that when we say overall process, remember the path of workflow that we discussed last time. Do you remember that, guys? The path of workflow that we discussed last time, from the request of the test up until the interpretation of your results. All of that is governed by your quality management. So I think I cannot overemphasize it anymore onto why quality management is important. Okay, quality management is important because it is the system that we are using to make sure that the quality, the accuracy, and the reliability of our results are always there. Okay, are always there. You would hear some similar terms to your quality management. Okay, so the key management goal of QM is to ensure that quality laboratory services are always provided. Okay, these are always provided. So TQM, okay, and CQI have been a standard approaches to quality leadership and management, okay? Quality leadership and management. I think you can remember about the continuous improvement or continuous quality that was proposed by one of the innovators that we talked about last time. So TQM and CQI have been our approaches on how we can manage quality inside the laboratory. So, quality management in general, okay, are activities that would ensure the quality of your service. Meaning to say, when we say quality of our services, I always pertain to to these things, okay? Modern and well-functioning equipments, a well-trained staff, and even your physical environment, your laboratory environment should also be important. So, as we move forward, okay, as we move forward, and talk about quality management or your total quality management, let us first take a look on how the mentality of people are with regards to quality management. There are people who would consider traditional when it comes to quality management, and there are people who are actually more serious when it comes to achieving quality inside the laboratory. So this is found on table 1-3 of your Henry's. So it actually compares the two mindset of a traditional thinking about quality management and one who thinks about quality management that should which should be a total quality management thinking. So people before when we are talking about traditional one, okay, when we are talking about traditional one, they would accept they only aim for the acceptable quality. Okay? For the acceptable quality. It's for TQM, they are error-free quality. They are aiming for an error-free quality. So we'll be trying to compare one from the other half. So quality, acceptable quality, and error-free quality. As a student, okay, as a student, if you are a traditional thinker, you would just look for the passing rate. What is the passing rate for quali again? Anyone in the chat box? Just to remind everybody, okay, it's 70. Okay. So for people, okay, for people who are focusing on just meeting the standard, okay, just meeting the minimum standard for quality management, they would just think about, okay, what is the passing rate for me to be able to say that uh, my my results are of good quality. Okay? So that would just be the passing grade. But for TQM thinking, they would aim to have an error-free quality. That's why remember last meeting when we discussed about the the total the quality management in the laboratory, you actually saw there that a 1% error could actually mean too much. Okay, can mean a lot in a particular system. So depending on the gravity of the system that we are looking at. At the same time, okay, at the same time, your traditional thinking, we are just focusing on the department. When we say department, what you're thinking is only your what? It is only your laboratory section. Take for example, I'm only thinking about ClinChem. All the efforts that I will be doing is only to safeguard the quality of the clinical chemistry section. But when we are talking about TQM, okay, this is not just a simple quality management, but a total quality management. So meaning to say an overall quality management program that would include your organization. You don't just focus on your group or your section, but you focus on your organization. Okay, more like in your case right now, you don't just focus on your batch, or you don't just focus on your section, you focus on your entire batch. All right, so you focus on your entire batch. For people, okay, with traditional thinking about QM, they would always associate achieving quality with an increasing expenses in the laboratory. Okay? But if we're gonna dig deeper to that, ladies and gentlemen, you would realize that quality is actually a mean to lower your cost. Why? Because if you can remember, okay, if you can remember, laboratory error costs us what? It costs us time, it costs us patient outcomes, but in between that, it also costs us personal effort. And within that personal effort, we can also include there, okay? We can also include there the expenses of the laboratory. Take for example, you bought a machine, a substandard machine, okay? After 1 year, you would again buy another machine because it's already non-functioning. So you see that, guys, okay? When we are just aiming for the minimum quality to be achieved, that's what happened. Okay, that's what happened. It actually cost us more instead of us saving money or resources in the laboratory. Right? So what else? Defect by in traditional thinking, we always put we always point fingers to our workers who did this. He is the one that is wrong. He is the one that should be kicked out of the company. This problem are happened because of this particular student, this particular faculty. But if we're gonna talk about TQM, we don't point fingers on people or people to blame. All right. So in TQM, what we do is that we identify the defect within the system. Okay, within the system. That's why remember. Okay, can somebody enumerate what are the three phases of the clinical laboratory? What are the three phases that we discussed last time? What are the three phases? Sam, Ulang. Can you
Uh,
enumerate them?
Pre-analytical or pre-examination phase, analytical or examination phase, and then the post-analytical or post-examination phase.
All right. Thank you so much. Very good. So, you see, we have those three phases, correct? We have those three phases and we have protocols within them from the requesting of the test, from sample collection, from the processing of the sample, all until the interpretation and the release of the results. So, you cannot just simply blame the worker because the worker is just part of the system. You get me there? Your individual, your medical technologist is just a part of the system. Okay? And you cannot just simply blame them. Okay? You cannot simply blame them, but you need to identify where in that system the error happens. Like what I was mentioning a while back on the chat box, everyone, where what majority of the errors in the laboratory are happening in what of those which among those three phases that we mentioned. Okay? Let me see. Okay. In the pre-analytical phase, correct? Most of the errors are happening in the pre-analytical phase. Imagine yourself being the one in the examination phase. You are the one who processed the samples. You are the one who processed the specimen. And then eventually, there was an error. Who would they blame? Who would traditional thinkers blame? They would blame who? The one who processed the specimen. The one who did the test. But if you are in a TQM approach already, you won't do that because you would now look into it in a bigger picture that it might actually not the medical technologists in the process, but actually those who collected the sample to begin with, or even further, those who actually um, instructed the patient on how to prepare. Okay? So I hope that's clear, ha? Aside from that, in the traditional thinking, management controlled worker. Okay? They are like puppets, they are like robots that are just being instructed simply by people who are working with them or that are leading them. On the TQM, on the total quality management thinking, okay, we empower our worker, we empower them because they are of the one of the most important elements within our TQM. Remember that not only just the organization or the things that you do in the laboratory, but also the personnel. So we have to empower them. Why do we need to empower them? Because when we empower our workers in also achieving quality in the laboratory, they would actually have a sense of um, accountability and responsibility, and above all, ownership in the laboratory. I don't know if you realize this. No, there are some some jobs that would actually keep you waiting until 5 p.m. Take for example, your the the end of your office hours will be 5 p.m. For people who are in the traditional thinking, who are management controlled worker, they would actually be 15 minutes before the end of their shift. They're already on their bondi clock. Gusto na nila agad umalis. They already want to get out of the laboratory 15 minutes even before their time. But when we empower our employees, when we empower our medical technologists, they would have that sense of ownership, and they won't be excited going home. Instead, they would actually be more excited coming into work because they would want to contribute further in the betterment, in the development and improvement of your company. Okay? So, what else? With regards to your traditional thinking, okay, they would always just be in the status quo. If for as long as I am here, everything I'm doing is just fine. Well, I'm fine with that. Okay, I'm fine with that. Those are people in the status quo. Whatever is acceptable, whatever is somehow yeah, good for some, they would just be accepting that already. But in TQM, okay, in TQM, what kind of mindset do we want to have? That is CQI, the continuous quality improvement. This is sometimes, diba? Sometimes when we look at people like this, we actually some would despise them because they just always want something to improve on. They would always want something to improve, to fix, or something that they would want to change so that the quality would be even higher. But that's just it is for TQM. Okay, that's just is it for TQM. Okay? So people would always want to what? People would always want to find opportunities for improvement. They would always find opportunities where they can improve their performance, where they can improve their products. Imagine this, okay? Imagine this. For people who are actually on Shopee or Lazada, isn't it there is a customer review there? So you can review the product that you bought, you can review them. Those review are actually opportunities for the buyer to improve on. They can improve it, or rather they can actually just keep it coming and eventually lose their customers. If you're gonna look at take for example, if you're gonna look at Shopee, um most um most store, I don't know how do they call it, most store that had the highest sales are actually those who had the best feedbacks. Okay? Who had the best feedbacks. And why do they keep on growing? Because they keep on improving their quality. They keep on maintaining and controlling that quality that they have. Unlike those stores na bad review, they got bad review, and they are not doing anything about it. Sooner than later, they will all lose their patient, or all lose their customers. Same thing in the laboratory. If your results are always, yeah, it's reliable, it's acceptable, but sometimes it's actually just right on the dot, it's late. Sometimes if it's not early, it's just really saktong-sakto lang sa time, just enough time, then that is a problem. Okay, that is a problem because people would always look for a product that would add value to themselves. Okay, add value to themselves. So with regards to um with regards to how we manage a laboratory, in the traditional thinking, they manage it by intuition, by feelings. Okay, so your feelings can lead you otherwise. Okay, they can lead you in another way that is not actually based on any facts or any truths or any information at all. People in the TQM, okay, would manage the laboratory according to facts. Okay? In the traditional thinking, they would always say that quality is intangible. That's why they don't even measure it, and they always think that it is just part of their intuition. But for people, okay, but for people who are in the TQM thinking, they believe that quality can be defined, and it has already been proven in even in the 1920s when Schuhart, okay, developed the statistical tool for quality. We were able to measure it already. We can now define quality, okay? Hindi to yung what is quality. Quality now is not something that is subjective but rather a more objective concept already in the clinical laboratory. Okay? So in the traditional thinking, okay, they have the we versus they relationship. In the TQM, there is an us. Merong tayo sa TQM, okay? So if you're gonna ask the one you're dating next time, are we TQM? Okay? Are we TQM? There meron ng tayo, there's already an us, okay? So of course, you always would want to work in a company and a laboratory where there is what? There is cooperation and teamwork among your company. So, in the traditional thinking, on the other hand, okay, they would always look at the end process they are end process focused. They only just want the product to be good. Okay, it's somehow like, I don't care what you do, I don't care how you will get there, but I want you to get there. Okay, I don't know what are the steps that are you going to go through. I don't care about the things that you will experience, for as long as if I say that the result should be this, the result should be this. Those are people in the traditional thinking. They always just focus on the product without realizing that the quality of product lies in the quality of your process, the quality of your system. And that is what TQM people is all about. Okay? They focus not only on the product because they believe that when you focus on the system and you identify which part of the system is very much beneficial to the product and not so beneficial to the product, if you improve one and you remove the other, if you um if you focus on the system, you would actually reach a you would actually reach a product that is more satisfying, okay, that is even more satisfying. So that is very important, okay? So you always want to focus not only in the end product but also in the process. And as humans, di ba, for you guys, all of you want to become medical technologists, but sometimes we lose track that we forget to actually enjoy the journey along with the journey that we're going through. So we have to enjoy the journey that we're going through, and eventually, 'di ba? And eventually, when you get there, you would be more satisfied on what you had already. Unlike kapag, take for example, you had the product, but then you despise the process, you despise the experience. That would be another story for another time. Okay? And of course, last but not the least, okay? In the traditional thinking, they are reactive. And the TQM, they are proactive. And I want you guys to also be proactive. Okay? I want you to be proactive in your studies right now. I don't want you to be reactive in a sense that you would only be studying better if you got your failing scores already, your failing grades in the midterm grade already. That is the only time that you would actually improve on your academics. No, it should not be like that. It should be proactive. The moment you see that you have a failing score in a quiz, you would start now to recalibrate, okay? You would start now to do your quality control, okay? You would start now to reflect which of the following is actually which of the following factors in your study actually contribute to that failing mark. Okay? So, in a nutshell, 'di ba? In a nutshell, are you a traditional thinker or are you a TQM thinker? Okay. Are you a traditional or a TQM? Let me hear it at our chat box. Do you want to be a traditional or do you want to be a TQM thinker? Okay? So, I hope most of you know would actually choose TQM. Okay, and millennials are actually very much known to be like this. They don't want to just be reactionary. They are more visionary. They are actually more focused on the impact that they would be giving. Okay, so in a nutshell, okay, the TQM thinking strives to continually look for ways, okay? We continually look for ways on how we can reduce the errors, okay? Which what we call defect prevention, di ba? We always look for ways, what can I do to reduce the errors that I have in the laboratory? So those are defect prevention. And eventually, by empowering our employees, okay, by empowering our personnel, um, they would also be the one to assist us in solving the problems and getting them understand now that their role as our worker is very important, okay, is very important. So if we were able to communicate that, okay, if we were able to communicate that, you have that sense of responsibility as a personnel, you have that sense of ownership, then it would not be very hard for the employers to actually achieve quality, because even my employee, they would also want that. Okay? They would also look after your company, and that's not just your job. Okay? So that is very important. Okay? So again, let me just try to differentiate two terms that are quite similar but not the same. So the TQM, okay, the total quality management. So this is the system approach, okay, that focuses on teams, that focuses on your processes, statistics, and the delivery of services or products that would meet now or even further exceed the customer's expectation. While your continuous quality improvement, okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is just an element under your TQM. Remember this one, okay? Your CQI is just under your TQM. So it is a way, it is our way of continually improving the practices, the products that we have, and not just meeting what is the established standards. So hindi dahil take for example, not because the passing grade is 70, all of your scores would just be 70. 70, 70, 70, 70, 70. That is status quo. You are a traditional. So we will be seeing in our next meeting who are those that will become TQM and traditional when it comes to that. All right? So the point here is that you don't stop after meeting the standard. Okay? In CQI, you don't stop after meeting the standard. You should continually find ways. Okay? We're not BDO. Okay? That continually find ways for other people, but you continually find ways to improve your performance. So far, are we clear? Can I see a raise of hand if everybody's awake and everything that we've discussed is clear? Can I see a raise of hand? Okay. Thank you so much. Oh, 5. So now, okay, now let's go deeper. Let's dive into your quality control. Okay? Your quality control. Before I define quality control, I want to show you this. Quality control, okay, your quality control is just under your quality management. Okay? So quality management and then quality assurance, within that is your quality control. So on your screen right now, okay, can you see, so these are actually the 12 things that we talked about last time. So see, your statistical quality control is actually just part of a bigger umbrella of your quality management. Okay? So in your quality control, this is actually more specific to your to your laboratory results now. So sample the measurement process. So is it stable? If it is yes, you can now simply report the patient's result um after getting the measurement. If it is not stable, you should do corrective actions, and then you should repeat patient's collection, and then you measure it again. So the cycle just goes on and on. Okay, so again, no, what I am trying to say and what I'm trying to show you guys is that quality control is just within your quality management. Are we clear? Can I see a raise of hands if that is clear, that QC is under TQM? Hello? Okay. So let us now define what is quality control. Okay? So quality control is a system of ensuring accuracy and precision in the laboratory. By what? By including quality control reagents. What are quality control reagents? Paki-underline naman. Please underline the quality control reagents because I need to say something so important. Okay? Okay, what is the universal color for your quality control reagents? Anyone who can answer me? What is the universal color for your quality control reagents? Universal color of your quality control reagents. Anyone? Okay? I think I'm not receiving any. Okay? Okay. Are you asking me a question, Aaron? Okay, may
Hindi
sumagot
po, sir.
na.
Sorry.
Okay, the answer is yellow. Correct. The answer is yellow. So the universal color for your quality control samples or reagents is always yellow. Why yellow? Can somebody explain to me why yellow? Anyone who want to raise their hand or I'll just call? Why yellow? Valawis. Allison. Why yellow? Why do you think that the color of your QC samples are yellow? Miss Valawis?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, bakit yellow? Okay, let's go to Daryl John Custodio. Why yellow? Sure, type ko lang. Okay, type mo lang. Buti walang sumagot ng pink. Okay? Buti walang sumagot ng pink. Okay, so in my guess. So what about Joshua? Do you have a more scientific explanation onto why yellow is the universal color of your QC materials? Sobreviñas?
I'm not so sure po, sir.
What is that not so sure answer then?
Ah,
What about Tristan Turla? Tristan, can you hear me? Anyone? Tristan. It indicate color change po. Okay. Represents gold. Gold standard. Sabi ni Josiah. Nice argument, ha? Okay, but let me go on and ask. Sabi naman ni Tessa, it indicate color change po. I think color change would be very much distinct if it is just colorless, isn't it? So, sabi dito ni Daryl, it highlight for verification, concurrence of items, or verification of updates and deletion from markups. Are we talking about medical quality control or other else na? Is it based on the pH color of neutrality? Ay, ang lalim. Okay? It is based on the pH color of neutrality. According to Allison, caution. Okay? Caution. No matter what is the color, even if the color is red and yellow, for as long as you have the biohazard mark, I think it would just give out caution. Okay? Anyone? I'll ask nandito na yung sagot ni Alexis. What about Aaron? You were raising your hand a while back. What was your answer?
Sir, nawala na sa utak ko.
Okay, nawala na daw sa utak. Okay, okay lang yan. Basta yung
Sir,
utak ang hindi
ito sir,
mawawala.
guess.
I'll go.
Ito sir, gets. Siguro sir, yellow because it represents every sample that we are going to collect na, di ba? According sa sa isang definition is like treat it as its lahat ng kinakarry mong samples into your laboratory is considered as pathogenic, pathogenic, sir. So parang 'di ba when sa laboratory actually sa waste management kasi sir, 'di ba parang there are different types of of parang tawag
Waste
doon.
receptacle.
Sir. So parang wait lang sir, nawala na naman yung utak ko. Wait lang sir. Babalikan. So,
Okay,
sir.
so thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
There's another answer here. Sir, color yellow po for quality control and blue for quality assurance. Okay, everybody listen to this. Okay? The universal color of quality control reagents or quality control samples, okay, your control samples are yellow. Why? Because they resemble, okay, human sample. Okay? They resemble human sample. Remember that when you centrifuge your blood, okay, what is the definition of your plasma and your serum? What is the color of your plasma or your serum? Isn't it? Its color is a pale yellow. Okay? Pale yellow yung color nila. Okay? This is also the reason why your quality control samples are colored yellow. Are we clear then? Okay? Your QC samples, your controls are always yellow because they resemble human sample. They resemble the color of your human sample. Hello? Are we clear? Can I see a raise of hands if we're clear? Okay. Hindi yan dahil favorite mo yung yellow. Okay? It's not about in the pH. It's not about the color of the waste receptacle, but because it resembles human sample. Much of that when we talk about quality control in the coming days. All right? So, quality control again is the process. Okay, ito na yun eh. It is the process of ensuring that analytical results are corrected by testing known samples that resemble patient sample. Okay? So, how does quality control is being performed in the laboratory? Remember, I was able to mention to you last time that you perform the first thing that you would do when you enter the laboratory, aside from turning on the light, turning on the aircon, and even the machine, it's running your quality control first. Okay? And what are you going to use as samples in quality control? Of course, not your patient samples, but a standard quality control reagent. And these quality control reagents are actually synthetic reagents that actually just resemble your patient's sample or your specimen. So meaning to say, they would actually be a solution that would have a normal level of sodium, potassium chloride, your normal they would have a normal glucose level, cholesterol level, so on and so forth. Okay? So that you would know that that is actually that machine is actually capable of measuring the product or the analytes properly. Okay? Thank you for the information, Aaron. We already talked. Okay? So, important terms to remember. Okay? Important terms to remember. Accuracy. Okay? What is accuracy? What is precision? Okay? Anyone? What is accuracy? What is precision? Okay? Sobreviñas. What is accuracy?
Accuracy po is the closeness of the result to the standard po or to the actual parang the closest of the result to the true stand or to the given standard or the truth.
Ayan, true value. Okay?
Ayun.
Thank you so much. Oh, what about your precision, Miss Valawis?
Sir, yung sa precision, parang telling the same story over and over again.
Okay, so in the laboratory, what does it mean?
Ability of analytical method to give repeated results on the same sample that agree with one another.
Okay, so nandun na. Okay? So yun yung notes. Okay? So again, accuracy is the nearness or closeness of your measured value to the target value. Okay, that is accuracy. Closeness of your measurement to the actual or the true value. That is accuracy. Okay? On the other hand, what is precision? It is now the ability of an analytical method to give repeated results on the same sample that agree with one another. So what does it mean? Okay? Consistency. Correct? I like that word. Okay? Consistency. That is somehow your word to describe about precision. If you say that this is actually 15, the next would be 15 again. If it actually deviates from that, it would just be 14 or 16. Kukuha tayo. So that is correct. Si Tristan Turla, that is reproducibility. Okay? Reproducibility. So, in accuracy, di ba? In accuracy, what we always make sure is that we always tell the truth. Accuracy is like telling the truth and nothing but the truth. And precision is telling that same story over and over again. Okay? So in the clinical laboratory, okay? So in the clinical laboratory, how does it look like? How does accuracy and precision look like? Okay? Take for example, if my machine was able to take for example, the actual value inside my body was 900 take for example 900 milligrams per deciliter. If I measure it in the machine, okay, if the absolute value, the actual, the real value inside my body is 900 milligrams per deciliter, the machine was able to measure it, the machine was able to measure 899 milligrams per deciliter. Will we consider that accurate? Of course, we would consider that accurate. Would we consider that precise? That's another story for another time. If that machine was able to give out, correct, not yet. If that machine was able to give out 900, like for example, the measurements are 900, 899, 799, 699, tapos naging 599, 5, yan. Would we consider it precise? Would we consider it precise? Of course not. Why? Because they are not agreeing with one another. Okay? They are not agreeing with one another. The values that were measured are actually far from the other values. When we say precision, okay, when we say precision, they are always close to one another. Which lead me to my other question. Question, guys, no? If the sample is if I have five measurements and all of the five measurements were accurate, would we say that they are all precise? Are when we say a particular measurement is accurate, is it automatically true that they are precise? If all of the measurements are accurate, would we say na automatically it is already precise? Hello. When we say it's accurate, would it mean that the measurements are precise already? And on the other hand, okay, no po, sabi nila, no. No. Oh, no. No. No po. Okay, I want to hear from Emma. Why did you say no, Emma? Why did you say that it's a no?
Because po, the accurate mean telling the truth, and for the precise telling the same story. So, for example, is if we throwing the ball, it can be anywhere near the point, but
Hmm.
uh, it cannot be precise because yeah we can throw anywhere in the point, and it can happen differently depend on times to time.
Okay. So you're talking about different in the measurement from time to time. But I want what I'm trying to ask you now is that wait ha, I'll try to share my screen and I'll actually show you what I mean when I am asking if all of my results are accurate. All results eh. I'm already talking all results. We're not talking about just one out of five. We're talking about all those fives are accurate. Would we consider them already precise at the same time? We have an answer here from Josiah. All of you who answered in the chat box says no. Okay? And we have one answer here that said yes. So Josiah, explain yourself.
Kasi sir, like example, let's state that our target value is 10.
Mm.
So sabi mo kanina, you said a while ago that all results are accurate. That means all the results would be nearby 10 or even 10. That would mean that they are very close to one another, and that means that they're very precise.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Okay, let me give you a visual. Okay, one moment. Let me give you a visual representation of what my question is all about. Okay, my question is: take for example, I have five measurements and all of them are accurate. Would we say that all of those are also precise? Okay, this is how it looks like. Okay, let me just present my screen. Okay, Share screen. Okay, can everybody see my screen now? Okay. So this is how it looks like. So take for example, I have this dart. Okay, I have this circle here. Okay, and the target. Okay, take for example our target value. Okay, our target value is within this part. Okay, and what I was saying a while back is that what if all of them are accurate? Meaning to say, all of the points are accurate. Okay, meaning to say. Okay, meaning to say. What does it mean? This is accurate. Okay? But my question now is that are all of these measurements precise? The answer would be yes. Okay? The answer would be yes. So which leads me now to my explanation that when a group of samples, okay, we're talking about a group of samples, if the group of samples are all accurate, automatically all of them are also precise. Why? Because they are considered accurate because they are all in that area. So they are not far from one another. Okay? But okay, another question is that once that it is isn't it? Once that it is accurate, most it is already precise. But another question would be if my samples or my measurements are precise, would it automatically mean accuracy? Anyone? No. Why? Okay, we're hearing answers na no. So how does it look like? Okay, so take for example, I have this another example once again. Okay, we have this as the target value. Okay, and these are the points. Question: are these samples precise? Yes or no on the chat box. Are these samples precise? Yes or no? Okay, correct. All of them are precise. But another question is, are these samples accurate? Are they accurate? No. So are you getting me now, children? Are you getting me? When we say that samples are already accurate, okay, automatically they are precise. Why? Because they would all be in that same area. Unlike in cases of precision, not because that story is being told similarly from the first time until the 100th time, doesn't mean it's the truth already. Okay? It doesn't mean it's the truth already. So, unlike, take for example, unlike in your accuracy, di ba? Unlike in your accuracy, once that you know that the story, the measurements are accurate, then you can say that it is already precise. Okay? In a numerical value, take for example, the target value, okay? The target value is 100. Okay? We can say that it is accurate and precise if the value are within 99, 98, 97, 99.5. These are accurate and these are precise. Okay? Unlike for on the other value, di ba? If these are your target value and then you have 20, 40, 60, and 80, actually these are not even precise. Okay? Like for example, you have value like 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Oh, that is precise, correct. Those are precise. But another question is, are they accurate? No. Okay? So again hopefully that cleared things out for you guys. So always remember, okay? Always remember the relationship between accuracy and your precision. Now going back, okay? Going back to our discussion now. So in quality management, okay? In quality management, okay? In quality management, it refers now to the overall process used to ensure that laboratory results meet the requirements for healthcare services to patients. And your quality control, okay? If this is the overall process, your quality control is a system within quality management that would ensure accuracy and precision in the laboratory, including quality control materials. Are we clear now? Did I make myself clear between quality management and quality control? Is that clear? Okay. So guys, I'm mentioning this to you because for the longest time, a lot of the students, even in practice already, um they would actually still misuse the term quality management and quality control. Okay? If people would if people would say, do you do quality control in this laboratory? Of course, yes. But when asked, do you do quality control in this particular section? It depends what section that may be. Okay? So that those are very important things to remember. Okay? So hopefully we were able to set the foundation already. Now let's have um a quick discussion about the history of quality before going into a quick break before we continue with our discussion this afternoon. So the history of quality can actually be um, could actually be dated back in the medieval times. Okay, quality management in the medieval guilds, okay, began in the 13th century. This is when craftsmen began organizing into unions called guilds in the late 13th century. So what are these guild? Okay, para tong theater guild. Okay, this is actually an association of artisans and merchants who oversee their crafts in a particular area. So this craftsman needed to ensure that their quality is good so that they will not lose their customer. So during those time in the 13th century, they organized this guild to actually make sure that the products that they are selling are of good quality. Okay? So quality management all started in selling products. They want people to come back over and over again to their products. Why? Why would you come back to a particular product? Because you know the quality already. Okay? If you're a person so concerned about skincare, you would always go back to the same product that gave you that um that glass skin that you are having right now, correct? You would be trying other products because it might actually be what? It might actually cause what? The dark age for your skin, isn't it? So during this time, they began to have inspection marks. Okay, these inspection marks and master craftsman marks serve as a proof of quality for customers throughout the medieval Europe. So you can see now, okay, you can see it's like a stamp of quality. If you would now take a look at your battery or your machines right now, you would actually see a seal of quality. Take for example, in Christmas tree, di ba, may mga ICT seal that would actually signify that this product is actually what? That this product is actually of good quality. And you can make sure that when you use it, you will actually benefit from using it. All right? So that's what happened during the medieval guild, okay, the medieval time. They had these marks, okay. Take for example, if they saw that, take for example, Angelica Villaluz is a very well known craftsman in making, take for example, um in making goblets. So they would see, okay, this is Villaluz Angelica, they would buy that, they would continue to buy that, and it would actually cost, so it would also determine the pricing, okay, the pricing for your products. Okay, unlike for example, they know Juan de la Cruz, okay, as one who would do substandard. The moment you hold the goblet, it will already crumble. Okay, people would not buy that the moment they saw that mark. Okay, so always remember that, guys. Okay, this is also the reason why those markings would actually signify who made that product. Okay? Not until, okay, in the Industrial Revolution, this craftsman became now in the factory, came now your factory system. Okay? So what is the factory system? In the factory system, okay, in the factory system, shop owners would always would become supervisors of craftsmen and their factory workers. Okay, so somebody would always have to look or check the quality of their performance in the factory system. Okay, in the factory system, they would mark an initial in the factory system, in the implementation of your factory system, there was a marked decline in employee. Okay, decline in the employee. So the sense of empowerment and autonomy in the workplace was not there. Okay, so if the products in this particular time, okay, if the products made by the craftsman did not meet the quality, it will be reworked or it will be put into scrap. Okay, so parang ganun din in our factory system right now, 'di ba? Somebody would be checking your work. And if your work is not if your product is not good, it will actually go back and have its rework or have its scrap from the beginning until the Taylor system came. Okay, until the Taylor system came, because during the factory system, workers started to decline, the quality started also to decline, and resources, okay, started to get depleted because they would redo things over and over again. Okay, not until the Taylor system, okay, was proposed by Frederick W. Taylor. So the Taylor system aimed to increase the productivity in the factory through factory planning. So eventually, in this case, quality was sacrificed. Okay, quality was sacrificed as a response. Okay, so inspection departments were developed during the Taylor system. So they knew, okay, during the factory system, okay, they knew that during the factory system, quality was sacrificed. Wala nang quality yung mga products. So during the Taylor system, we had now what we have right now as inspection facilities. So the inspection facilities would check the quality of your product before releasing it into the public. Okay? So that's what happened in the industrial revolution. So to give you a more detailed progression of quality during that time. So craftsmen, okay, these masters maintained the form of their quality by inspecting goods before sale. And then during the factory system, okay, craftsmen as factory workers, so the shop owners becomes the supervisors for quality. Okay, so it was really difficult at the time. Okay, it was really difficult at the time. So in this eventually with the Taylor system, okay, their goal is to increase productivity. Okay, their goal is to increase productivity without increasing the number of craftsmen, without increasing the skill of the craftsman. By the way, ito pala, dito nagkaroon ng the quality was compromised. Okay, the quality was compromised. That's why eventually, after all of these things happened, we have now inspection facilities that would check the quality of your products. Okay, that would check the quality of your product, and that actually began in the 20th century. So in the 20th century, they began to include quality practices as part of the process. So a process is defined as a group of activities that takes an input, adds value to it, and provides an output. So what they want is to actually improve on a particular product. So they would check. It would now become a process whereby they would be giving inputs into a particular product. They would just brainstorm on how can they add value to it, and eventually provide an output that is more acceptable with high quality as well. So during the 20th century, remember in the 1920s, Walter Shewhart laid the foundation for control charts. So it is now a modern day quality tool that we are using, which will be part of your third laboratory exercise, because this coming lab exercise that you will be doing, you would be having quality laboratory statistics. Okay? So eventually, since the dawn of those quality control charts first developed by Walter Shewhart, okay, the quest for quality control continued to be developed. So in the total quality in America was initiated by Edward Demings and Joseph M. Juran. So they analyzed that in Japanese there is in Japan kasi there is already a quality management, okay, which we will be discussing when we go to the Lean Six Sigma and the Lean system. So Japan's total quality approach was very commendable at that time, okay? So the total quality approach, okay, so instead of relying purely on a product inspection, okay, so they actually all their processes. So instead that a company will be based only their success will be based only on the product. What they did is to actually create an entire organizational overhaul. So meaning to say they actually look for all the process within their organization that they can actually improve, that they can actually increase the quality even more. So that concept that came from Japan, okay, was also transferred into the America, okay, by Edwards Deming and Joseph Duran. So during this time, okay, even right now, 'di ba? Even right now, when you go to shops, when you see that it is made from Japan, you would know that it is of high quality, as opposed if it is from another country. Are you getting me? If you see that the product is from Japan, you would know that it is of good quality because they already have inculcated down into their DNA total quality approach in everything that they do. Okay? Not only benefiting now the the company, but most importantly, those who are buying the products. Okay? So Americans and the TQM, so TQM in America, okay, so the organizational adaptation of TQM started also when the ISO 9000 series of quality management standards was already put into place in 1987. Okay, in 1987, mind you, during that time they don't welcome it immediately, but eventually when they saw that the Japan's quality, the Japan's product was already booming, then that's the time when America decided to really push through with the TQM system when it comes to quality management. So now, okay, in the 21st century, so Malcolm Baldrige, okay, National Quality Award has added education and healthcare to its original quality. So before it will just be about manufacturing, small businesses, and even service industry. Now we already have included education and healthcare. So many advocates are pressing for the adaptation of a non-profit organization category as well. So meaning to say, what do we mean by this? A lot, even your government, we have a quality management system that would check if the government is of good quality, if they are up to par to the standard. In the education and healthcare, same thing is also true. Of course, in the manufacturing business and the in service industry, they also do have that. Now, what they're trying to push is actually for your non-profit organizations. Why? Because since you are not asking money from other people, sometimes, 'di ba? NGOs that are not actually performing, andyan lang na NGO, masabi lang na may NGO. Kaya ang daming NGO, okay, because they are not actually being checked with regards to their standard. Are they really able to give out the quality that they're saying they would give to the beneficiaries of their organization? So there've been advocates pressing onto including non-profit organizations your into your quality management systems as well. Okay, into your quality management systems as well. So quality has moved beyond manufacturing sector into such areas as service, of course, healthcare. That's why we are also talking about quality assurance already in medical technology. education, and even in the government. So quality function deployment was developed by Dr. Yoji Akao as a process for focusing on customer wants or need in the design or in the redesigning of your product or service. So quality function deployment. Okay. So quality function deployment, you would isn't it? There are some. I actually observed this in one. I know I am following one store, and then eventually when their product are starting to be out of the market, they actually evolve. Okay, nag-evolve sila into what the customers need right now. Okay, so that is also very important. So also in the 21st century, the Six Sigma, okay, a methodology developed by Motorola to improve its business processes by minimizing defect. So we will be talking about Six Sigma in the coming days. So aside from Six Sigma, ayan, aside from Six Sigma, we also have the Lean system. So we'll try to compare that. So sabi nga natin, di ba, in the Six Sigma, we're not just focused on minimizing the defect on the product, but more so on the processes. All right? So to end this, okay, so in 1995, ayan, the Malcolm Baldrige um, National Quality Award added a business results criterion to its measures of applicant success. So in 2000, the ISO 9000 series of 2000 placed emphasis on customer satisfaction. So ISO 9000 focuses on what? Customer satisfaction. And of course, in 2015, the ISO 9001 standard now included risk management. So what is ISO? ISO is what is ISO? ISO stands for what? It stands for I didn't see who raised their hand. Oh, Alexis. ISO means
International Organization for Standardization.
okay, International Organization for Standardization. So it's a it is actually the world's best known quality management system. You can see it in the manufacturing industry, education, schools are ISO certified, hospitals are ISO certified, government are also ISO certified. Okay? So that is actually quality management, quality control, and of course accuracy, precision, and also the history of quality in general. So again, thank you so much for listening. So the time is already 2:49. So for today, we'll be having a quick break first before we proceed to our next discussion about laboratory statistics. So I'll be giving you 5 minutes for your break. So please be back at exactly 5:55 as we continue our discussion until 3:30. Again, please be back by 2:55. Okay, so you may now have your short break as I stop this recording for a while.